so damn important that you needed to clearly reference certain things, you know, to evoke a certain response. The worst thing that can happen is it's cliched, right? Or that it's wrong, right? Like the conclusion that you drew that it was so damn poignant that you just had to put it into your story turns out to be wrong. That's even worse than cliche. Or, you know, the really, really bad version of that is that you thought you were being progressive in your ideas, that you were being, you have a firm belief in what the world is going to be like 2 years from now, right? And so you do a story that you think reflects what the world is going to be like 2 years from now. And not only are you wrong, your decision was quaint, and it's not futuristic at all. What you really did was write today, 2 years in the future, or 20 years in the future, and you thought you were being innovative, and you weren't. You were just projecting how you were throwing a fit on the page, is what you were doing, okay? You don't want to do any of that, right? All that's bad. Here are a couple of things to keep in mind to keep you from doing those kind of things, or be caught in a area where those things affect you, okay? A lot of that stuff that you're talking about, the bad version of it, comes from this idea that people nowadays think that, excuse me, people nowadays think that being an artist means having a brand, right? Which means that, okay, I am creator, you know, Joe, and here's my webpage, and here's my Twitter account, and my Instagram account, and I'll tell you about all of this kind of stuff, which is fine. All the social media stuff is fine. The real problem, though, is that when you start using that platform to explain what the stories are about, right? No, you're incorrect. This story that I wrote is not about, you know, red Jeep Cherokees. It's about blue Jeep Cherokees, you idiot. How could you screw up the reading of the text that way? Okay? And so what that does is it, and a lot of people are making this mistake now, where they feel like that they, the artists, is the brand of their work, and they're not the brand of their work. Their brand is the art, okay? It's the art that should be your brand. And what happens is, I know this seems like I'm off, I'll bring it back around, because I'm a good storyteller. But the reason why the art should be the brand is because we live in a hyper-consumer kind of age of storytelling, like of entertainment, right? And because of that, pop culture eats artists, it eats art at an incredibly accelerated rate to stay relevant, so that you can afford, so people will pay you for your art, or pay to, you know, watch your movies, or read your stories, or read your books, or whatever. You have to be at the super top of your game to stick around for 5 years, for 10 years, whatever. But because it gets eaten so quickly, and it doesn't matter who you are, it's going to happen to me. Everything dies, like your career we're in. People will get tired of reading stories by me. People will get tired of my take on whatever, or because I am an influential storyteller, there's 3 other people that are younger than me that kind of do things the same way I do, but 2 of them are better than me, and so then I'm screwed. What good is the original when the copies have become better stuff, right? And so everybody's career will end, right? It will absolutely end. And because it ends, if your brand is you, the artist, what they're rejecting is you as a person, right? That's what they're rejecting. They're not rejecting the stories that you're telling, they're rejecting you as a person. That's a terrible death. That's a terrible way to die. Whereas, if they are rejecting your art, that's an acceptable way to die. It's not a bad death. You got to do some art, you got to tell some stories, and fine, you're done, but at least it's a rejection of what you did and not you as a person. It's an okay death, all right? So how do you do one and not the other, right? How do you not be a brand, and how do you be not a brand but an artist, a real artist whose work is about the art? And one of the things that you can't do is talk about the art. Like the exchange that is real between me and someone when they buy a book of mine is that I make something and I give it to you, and you buy it, and you either like it or you either don't care about it, or you hate it, or you love it, or like it, or whatever. And all of those responses are perfectly fine with me. I don't care. Our exchange is done, and I've given it to you. What I don't have any right to do, as in when I stop being an artist, is when I break that exchange and I say, here's this thing I am selling, and here's what it is about, and here is what the story means, and here is me explaining my art entirely, and consumer, this is how you should feel about it. And if you don't agree with me, then you are wrong, right? If you do not agree with this reading of the text, then you are incorrect. When you break that barrier, when you break the barrier between you and the person that is consuming the pop culture that you're making, then you're actually committing suicide. And so do I write political stuff? Maybe. Is it about X, Y, or Z? I don't know. You tell me. Right? What's your reading of the text? Right? Did you mean for character B to run into character C and find out they both know character A? Maybe. What do you think? It's way more interesting. You give the art to the people, and the people consume it, and they draw their own conclusion. This is how it used to be. It used to be that a show came on, the finale of The Sopranos came on, and everybody had their own opinion about how the ending was. If The Sopranos came out today, people would, the guy, if he wasn't, if Dave Chase wasn't a great artist, he would tell everybody after a week what really happened, and that would kill the life of it. It wouldn't be a magical thing anymore. So, write political shit, man. Dude, write crazy political stuff. Absolutely. If you got something to say, say it, but don't say it. You understand what I'm saying? Like just don't. Just give it to people and let them figure it out. That's the cool thing about ideas, is that they're infectious. This is why I don't do interviews, hardly any interviews anymore, because all the questions are, what did you mean, or can you tell us what the story was supposed to be? And that's boring, and I'm not doing it anyway. And it's why all of my synopsises are dishonest. It's why all the preview text for what's going to happen in the book are blatant lies. It's why when I do give an interview, because I'm required to by a publisher, this is a fun thing to do. They usually drop multiple interviews at the same place. I almost always in an interview tell, so what did you get your inspiration for this story, Jonathan? And my response to one person will be, I remember it as clear as day. It was April 15th, and I was fishing. And the next person I'll be like, I remember, it was clear as day. It was September 3rd, and I was playing checkers. And it'll show up in each media place as that's the story. And it's awesome. It's fantastic, because then nobody knows what's real and what's true, and that's the kind of stories you should be telling, right?